Cody Lokken. Or rather, I will be soon. It's a weird way to start this video. This is all going to be kind of weird. I actually kind of feel a bit like a terrorist sitting in front of this skull and crossbone flag. I promise I'm not here to behead anyone today. I'm trying something new this year. To put it simply, I'm not very happy with where my life's at right now. I have a lot of things in my life that I'm thankful for, like my wife, having my own place, but in terms of like career and what I want to do next with my life, I'm not in a good spot. I'm in a kind of shitty job. It pays okay. I've got insurance, it pays my bills, but it's not what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I had to think about that a lot, and I've been there about 3 years, and I kind of feel like I'm stuck. And that's one of the most frustrating feelings to me. When I first started working when I was like 15, 16, I was just working while I was going to school, get a little money to buy video games and stuff that my parents couldn't afford for me because they were busy working their asses off to, keep a roof over my head and food on the table. Sometimes that food was ramen, so, I had to help out with bills from time to time. But mostly it was something that I could do. I needed to learn life skills. I needed to make money for my own so I could buy my own things without hassling them about it. But since then, when faced with a job that I didn't like, or at least back then, I could just leave when it got to a point where I couldn't handle it anymore. Some people say I have a bit of a problem with authority. I can kind of see that. I want to be my own boss. I don't necessarily like working for other people. I don't mind it, but sometimes the people above me have stupid ideas, and I have a bad tendency to point out that they're stupid, and they don't always like to hear it the way that I present it. I've learned over the years to be a little bit better about presenting better ideas for a situation to my superiors, and it helps a lot with where I am now. But back in the day, like, somebody would make a stupid decision, I'd be like, fuck this, I'm out. And I would just quit, and I would go home. I didn't have any bills to pay. I just couldn't buy video games or magic cards or whatever for the next couple weeks till I found something else. And that was my kind of like starting experience for working, was just work somewhere until the bullshit gets too much you can't handle and then bounce. Well, fast forward 10 years, I'm now in my mid to late 20s, and I've got people I really care about, and I do have bills I have to pay. Now, when the bullshit level gets to a point that I can't stand, I don't really have that option to just bounce. As much as I would like to, I can't just give somebody the finger and walk out. I have to pay rent for this fucking roof that's over my head. I have to provide food for my loving wife that I care more about than fucking myself most days. It's just not an option, and unfortunately that has started to bring on a lot of stress. And so going into 2016, you could call it a New Year's resolution. I kind of decided that I wanted to take steps to get out of that job and do something that I'm passionate about and do something that I have fun doing. And that's kind of where I'm going with this today. I'm going to start this vlog. This is episode 1 of the Lokken vlog. There's things I want to talk about. I want to bring you guys on trips that I may go on. I want to just talk about the shit that's bothering me and kind of vent, and maybe I can find my way into a happier place. And who knows, maybe this takes off and I don't have to work in the corporate world anymore dealing with that shit. And if it doesn't work, I don't care. Um, this is something that I've wanted to do for a while. I've not really had an idea of how to get started. So I kind of just said, fuck it. And I bought a camera. And we're just gonna start it from here. I kind of look like a disembodied head right now. My beard is covering my neck, and my shirt's black, and the thing behind me is black, so it's just like head floating around. I don't know. This is going to be a challenge for me. I don't usually do stuff like this where I put myself out there by myself. I do have a podcast that I do with a friend, and I feel like a lot of times he runs the conversation and ends up being the lead, and then I tag along and kind of contribute to the conversation that he's leading. So doing this one-on-one with you guys in front of the camera is something that I'm trying to do to grow as a person. And I think this will be helpful. So this is how we get started. This is the first step to a new me. I think one of the things I want to do with this is really just grow as a person and become who I feel I am. And I say that for a very specific reason. At the beginning of the video, I had mentioned that my name is Cody Lokken, or that it will be soon. And what I mean by that is I'm actually going through the process of legally changing my name. Now, there is a very emotional reason for this, that I feel like I need to change my name. I'm not going to get into it in this video. I'll probably talk about it in one of the next videos. But I want to change my name for a very powerful reason to me. And I'm going to change it to Cody Mjolnir Lokken. My middle name is going to be Mjolnir, which is, of course, Thor's hammer. I spent, I don't know how long, trying to come up with a new name for myself. It's hard to explain because for the longest time I felt like my name isn't who I am. And it's really hard when you grow up with a name for your whole life, having people call you that name, people identify you by that name, but you feel like it doesn't apply to you. And then to try to say, well, what does? What is my name? If what I've been grown up being called is not my name, how do I just choose a new name? And it's a really hard process. I went through a lot of possibilities. I wanted to come up with something that I felt embodied me and who I feel I am. So I started looking into like my family roots. I looked through old family names to see if there was anything that I liked there. I kind of like followed my bloodline a little bit to see like where my blood came from way back in the day. And as you can tell by the red beard, I do have some Scottish and Irish blood in me. But I learned with a little bit of research that if you go a little bit further back, my bloodline goes from Ireland back to Norway. And I have Viking blood in me. I haven't had the chance to do some actual lineage research to determine like who specifically I'm related to. But it is kind of a cool thought, and I'm a big dude. It's kind of hard to see right now. I mean, if I stand up, I'm just going to disappear into the frame over the course of the videos. You'll see how big of a dude I am. But I'm like 6'7", and I'm somewhere around 400 pounds. And I'm huge with this beard, and Vikings have always been interesting to me. And so I decided to go with a Nordic name. and that's where Lokken came from. Lokken. Um, it was a surname from the northern part of Norway back in the day, from what I was able to read, and something about the ring of that name rolling off my tongue just kind of resonated with me, and that's what I chose for my last name. And I currently Cody is my middle name, and I said I wasn't really going to go into this in this video, but I guess I'm going to. Cody is my middle name. My first name is Timothy. Now, a lot of people like the name Timothy. For me, it's a very negative name. My father was an alcoholic while I was growing up. He transitioned from being an alcoholic into being an abusive alcoholic. He then transitioned to being an abusive alcoholic to being a sober asshole. And he went from that to being addicted to prescription medication. And now he just kind of sits as a waste of life in my mother's house, doped up on all these fucking psych meds, and literally contributes nothing to society. So, growing up with an abusive father that treated me like a piece of meat rather than a person has kind of poisoned that name for me, and I don't want to have his name. I don't feel like I deserve that. I don't feel like he deserves for me to carry his name on with how bad of a person he was. He was abusive to my mother. He was abusive to me physically, verbally. He didn't molest me or anything, but he left a lot of emotional scars on me as a child. He, on more than one occasion, told me to my face that I was his property and not a person. And that is a really fucked up thing to say to anyone, let alone a small child. And he would repeatedly get drunk and try to fight me physically. I am kind of bigger than he is. I stand like a foot taller. And I guess in his inadequacies as a male, he feels the need, or he felt the need um, to prove himself as a man by beating up his own son, and would routinely pick fights with me when I would just be standing up to walk away. He would accuse me of like bowing up on him and getting in his face, and that's never what I was doing. I'm not a super confrontational person, and especially not with a belligerent drunk asshole that I don't want anything to do with. So when he would do these things, I would never actually fight him, but that wouldn't stop him from hitting me or pushing me. He threw me off the porch one time. He tried to throw me out of a moving car one time. He was a shitty person. And that had such a huge impact on me growing up that it caused a lot of emotional trauma for me. And I just don't want to be associated with that. And so carrying his name through my life um, has caused a lot of problems for me. I hear people say his name and it just immediately kind of makes my blood boil. It just stirs up all this anger and frustration from deep down inside me. I have to like tell people when I go to a new job, hey, yes, my first name is Timothy. Please do not call me that. My name is Cody. Cody is the name that my mother gave to me, and my mother is very important to me. Despite all of the bullshit that we had to deal with my dad growing up, she was there for me, and sorry, I'm getting emotional. She just was very important, and so I feel like I have to keep the name that she gave me. So I'm making Cody my first name to show, that I love her and respect that she chose that name for me, and that I don't have to carry his name. And choosing Mjolnir for my middle name. I figured since I was taking Cody away that if I'm going to change my name, I wanted to have some kind of fun or cool name. And I wanted to stick with the Nordic Viking kind of theme. Um, and I narrowed it down to a couple things. Like I thought about Ragnarok for a little while, like the Viking end times. And I was like, that's kind of badass. But I ultimately settled on Mjolnir because it's kind of a powerful icon in terms of the Nordic religions. Thor's hammer represents a lot of things. It represents strength, and it just kind of called to me, and so that's what I picked as my name, Cody Mjolnir Lokken. And so I'm in the progress of getting that. Excuse me. I'm in the progress of getting that changed legally, so that I don't have to carry on his name. Now, I really wanted to get this done before I got married last September. For anyone that's not aware, legally changing your name in the state of North Carolina is a giant pain in the ass. Um, I had to go to the courthouse and get like a packet of paper this thick. And there was a lot of information that I had to read and a lot of steps that I had to follow. I have to get two affidavits of good character. Basically, I need to have somebody, two other people, sign a piece of paper that say, hey, this guy's cool, he's a good citizen, he's not a raging axe murderer, I've known him for X amount of years, and I think you should let him change his name because he's not doing it to hide from the law or some other malicious crime or whatever like that. In addition to that, I had to get two background checks. I had to get a state background check from Raleigh, our capital city, and I had to get a federal background check from the FBI. Now, I don't have a criminal record. I have done stupid shit in my past. I have, on more than one occasion, been in handcuffs for altercations that I did not instigate. Just being the large person that I am, I ended up being the victor of the altercation. And when the police first show up to something like that, they tend to cuff the person still standing. Most of it was when I was a bouncer, which I'll get into at another time, I'm sure. I did get in trouble for drugs one time, but I ended up getting that expunged from my record. I did community service. I got a job out of the community service, actually. The place that I did my community service liked me so much that they're like, hey, when that probationary stuff is up, we're gonna give you a job. And that was an interesting experience. But I got that expunged from my record, and so I have a clear criminal background. That did not speed up the process at all. So what I had to do, I had to go and get fingerprints made, and I had to get 2 copies of them. I had to send one to Raleigh to get a background check there, and I had to pay like $20 to get the fingerprints. I had to pay like another 20 for the state background. I had to pay like 18 for the federal background. And so I sent that off to Raleigh. I sent the other ones off to the FBI. Now on the FBI website where I was looking up, hey, how do I do this? I don't regularly talk to the FBI to get my background checks. They had a message at the top of their website that said, due to a systems upgrade, we are currently backlogged in work. The message was like timestamped 2013. And I was just like, oh, well, maybe that's just an old message or whatever. No, they're still apparently backlogged or something because it took several months for that background check to come back. I got my state background check back in like 2 weeks. And those of you in North Carolina watching this know that sending anything off to Raleigh and to come back usually takes a long time. So I was obviously expecting that to be the slow one, and then the federal government, who's supposedly watching us already, to just like mail me the background check 2 minutes before I sent off for it or some crazy shit. Like, nope, we were watching, we heard you, we got you. Fucking. Or some crazy bullshit like that. But no, it took forever, and I didn't get it back in time to even start the process before I got married in September. Now, life has happened, and I have all of the stuff now, but I haven't had a chance to take all of it down to the courthouse. The next steps, I have to take this packet of information that I've got signed. I had to fill out and the affidavits, the background checks. I had to fill out this like 4-page thing of, what's your name now? Who are your parents? Why are you or what are you changing your name to? Why do you want to do it? Blah 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 blah. And I had to say like 30 times that no, I'm not changing my name to escape law enforcement. No, I'm not changing my name to escape a crime that has not been discovered, and blah blah blah. All this crazy shit. I'm like, I didn't realize going into it that it was going to be this big of a deal. But it is. There's a lot of process. If you're getting married and you just want to take your spouse's last name, it's super easy. You just take the marriage certificate, your ID down to the register of deeds or whatever, and they're just like, ta-da, here you go. Here's your new last name. But no, if you're just a male wanting to change his name because of reasons, then you've got to jump through all of the hoops. So I've got my stacked paper filled out. I've got it in a nice little binder in my computer desk. From here, I have to take that packet of paper down to the courthouse and go to, I think it's the Register of Deeds office. I have to talk to somebody, and then I have to stick a thing to his door that says, so-and-so, citizen of Buncombe County, blah, 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 wants to change his name. And it has to sit there for 10 days. Why? I don't know. I feel like this is weird bureaucratic crap left over from back in the day, like way back in the day, like horse and buggy back in the day, when community and government was more closely intertwined and shit like that. So like somebody would go to change their name, and then like the community would come by and look at it and be like, oh, so and so's wanting to change his name, I'll need to update the registry, or I don't think they're a good enough person to change their name, or I don't know what the point of it is. But I have to do that, and then I have to go back after the 10 days with the stack of paper again and talk to somebody else, and then I go in front of a judge and I give him the papers and he reads them, and then he decides whether or not I get to change my name. And if he says yes, then I have to pay $120 and go through the process of getting all my like IDs and Social Security and all that bullshit updated. If he says no, then I don't know what the fuck I do. I guess I have to like try to go through the process again or something. Maybe he'll tell me why he said no. I don't think it's a big deal because, like I said, I have a clear background check. I don't think he'll have an issue, but who knows? I don't have the best of luck. So that's got to happen soon. The problem is this corporate job that I have operates in like the same hours as every other corporate job and every government job, that kind of like 9 to 5 window. So I have to take off time from work, and we have weird attendance policies and vacation time accrual that I have to deal with. So I'm gonna have to take a day off to go down there, or just take like a long lunch or something to go down there and post the thing. Then I have to take a day off to go down and do the thing. And it's just really frustrating. And I've got to come up with the money to do it. Why they need me to pay over $100 to do this, and then I have to go through and I'm sure I have to pay to get a new Social Security card and a new driver's license and all this stuff. So it kind of feels like a money racket, which is annoying, but it is what it is. It's something I need to do, and part of becoming this new me. I want to kind of lose weight and just I want to embody my new Viking name. Um, and I kind of feel like this vlog's a good way for me to do that because I can have some accountability. I can talk about my diet or workout regimen or whatever the hell I end up doing with you guys, and you guys can kind of like hold me to it. And I think that'll give me the extra push I need to kind of grow. Um, so this is my 2016 is I'm gonna be spending a lot of time in this room for various reasons. This is also kind of it's gonna be my craft space. We just got this house, um, started renting this house back in December, and so some of our shit's still in boxes. But I'm gonna turn this. This is actually a closet, but it's massive, and it's on like the extra guest room. So I'm gonna like turn this into my crafting space. I like to build Gundam model kits, and so this is going to be a good area to do that in. I also have some other crafting projects that I want to do. Like I dabble in wood burning, and who knows, maybe I'll do some crafting videos so you guys can see some of that. If I can figure out a good way to do the model kits on video, I'll do that, because anybody that's into Gundams or into robots, or even just putting together models, can get excited about putting together one of the really nice model kits. Like the Perfect Grade has like hundreds of pieces, and they have LED lights in them to make their eyes light up and stuff. And I'm super excited to start on some of those now that I have room to do them, and cool kind of shelf space to show them off. And so I'm going to spend a lot of time in this room this year. The lighting right now is not great. I have a weird kind of lo-fi fucking screw-in ceiling light over there above the camera right now, so I'll have to get some lights in here. The problem is, aside from that light socket, there's no power in this closet, which I didn't realize until after I had already set up all my stuff in here. So I'm going to have to get like an extension cord or run some power out here or something. And I'll get some better lights and hopefully some better sound. I have no idea what the hell this video sounds like yet. So sorry if it's terrible. This is a learning experience for me. I don't know anything about doing videos. I don't know anything about video editing. So that's all things that I'm going to learn this year, doing this with you guys. And I'm excited. I'm thoroughly excited about this. I've wanted a creative outlet for a long time. I got part of that with my podcast that I do with my friend Billy. You guys will see him on here. I'm sure he's become my best friend. Since we started doing this podcast, we spent a lot of time together, and we've got a pretty good bond together. I spend at least one day a week with him doing the podcast, and we talk and hang out some during the week sometimes. So you'll see him on there. I'm actually about to go do the podcast after I put this video on the computer. The podcast that we do, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit. It's called The Film Feed. And basically me and Billy get together on Saturdays and we watch a movie, and then we talk about the movie. We started it with the idea that we would be just reviewing the movies, but then we found out that we're not really good at doing like a review. What we are good at is making fun of weird little details in a movie and stuff like that, and it's a fun time. We watch a bunch of, right now we're doing the Wachowskis siblings movies. We started with Bound. We went through The Matrix. We just did Speed Racer. Today, I think, is Cloud Atlas or Jupiter Ascending, one of the two, and then next week is the other one. And then the episode after that, we're celebrating 1 year of the film feed. Um, and so we have like a special episode coming out for that. So I'll probably talk about that a lot on here. I bought some new equipment for the podcast too when I got this camera, because I'd like to do more with the podcast this year. I want to try to take it to like film festivals or something and maybe do some interviews and things like that. I want to kind of branch out, maybe incorporate it with YouTube. So maybe I'll start up another channel for the film feed. We have been talking about other projects that we might do with that as kind of like a film feed network sort of thing. So if you guys want to check that out, you can head over to filmfeed.co. You can find us on Facebook. It's the film feed. Our podcast is hosted on SoundCloud, but you can also get it on iTunes and Stitcher. And I'll put links in the description under this video. Check it out. It's really cool. If you have seen the movies we've watched, we spoil a lot of things. So if you haven't seen them, you might want to watch the movie before you listen to the episode. If you don't really care about spoilers, you could probably just listen to the episode, and maybe it's a movie. Maybe after hearing us talk about it, you'll want to watch the movie. But we don't necessarily do good movies. We have done some good movies. We did like the Jurassic Park series, and the Mad Max series, and but we also did movies like Leprechaun. And we're all about watching fun movies, and if the movie's not fun, we kind of just make fun out of it. In December, we did all Christmas-themed kind of horror movies. So we did Krampus, The Santa Sleigh, Silent Night, Deadly Night, stuff like that. And November was all Nick Cage movies, and that was really fun. I think that's going to be a yearly thing, Nick Cage November, because he's got 40 billion movies. So we've got a lot of gold to dig through there. So that's something you're interested in. Go check that out. Follow us there. But I think I'm going to wrap this video up for today. I don't know how often I'm going to be able to do these with work. I'm going to eventually try to get it to where I'm doing at least one video a day. I'm probably going to have a secondary channel, or maybe just a segment on this channel where I do some Let's Plays, because I very much so love to play video games. And that's something I've always wanted to do. I tried to do it one time before, and I just didn't have the drive or the means to keep up with it. But I'm changing up a lot of things this year. I have a better setup. I've got an actual recording space I can make use of. So I'd like to start that up again. So look forward to that. Like and subscribe if you want to hear me talk some more about myself. Like I said, I don't really know where this is going. But thanks for watching, guys. It means a lot, and I'll see you next time.